I'll have to make a joke about it now, but it's okay. We're live. What's going on, D-Bags? Hope you guys are doing well. Back at it again with another episode of the Detox Podcast. I'm your host, Darren Rita. Feel free to connect with me at any of the links down below. Also, my link to my new song is down there. A bunch of other fun stuff, so feel free to check it out. I'll explain some of the other stuff in a minute. But if you're new here and you enjoy music, podcasts, or comedy, do consider subscribing because we got a whole lot of that going on around here in this channel, as well as some other fun stuff. Now, I'm laughing and joking for a reason that I'll get to in a second. But before we get into the episode, which you could see by the title has a lot, we have a lot to go over. I want to talk to you guys a little bit about car insurance. These days, it seems as if we're able to do more and more from home. So while you're at home, why aren't you saving money on your car insurance? Your hometown agency, Kenosha Auto Insurance, has specialized for years in simple, hassle-free car insurance using the latest in touch-free technology to help you get the best rates for you and your family. So what are you waiting for? Give them a call today at 262-448-4141. That's 262-448-4141. And the website is kenoshains.com. One last time, that's 262-448-4141. It should be right here below my hand. If you give them a call, tell them D Rita Detox sent you. They're going to hook you up, I promise. Now, with all of that out of the way, I want to first address we're a couple minutes past schedule. We were going to be like 1 or 2 minutes late anyways, right? I was updating the thumbnail because there's no guest this week. We had a cancellation, and I wanted to just throw the thumbnail together before we started. I figured I might as well already have it there if I don't have to wait for a day to get the thumbnail, right? So we were doing that, and then we go live. It kind of gives me the signal that we're live. And she's mic'd up, by the way, so if you guys hear a disembodied voice, that's her.
Disembodied?
There's no body. There's no. That's what that means. So if you hear her speaking, that's who that is. If you hear someone speaking, but basically she told me we were live, and I do the whole beginning, and then she's like, "Oh, wait, I was recording." So she accidentally hit record instead of go
They're
live.
They're right next to each other.
They are right next to each other, and we were just running like tests. So you have to record to do the tests.
Sorry, everyone.
So
I failed.
It's all good. Yeah, not watching anymore if McKenna's mic'd up, says Ariana Rita.
Yeah.
Well, she's on you already, right away. First thing, you better be. McKenna's probably gonna be mic'd up. I'll talk about some stuff we're gonna be doing later this week, but I guess I'll mention it now. We're building a huge Lego set this week. So well, not a huge Lego set, like what is it? Five Lego sets. A couple of them are pretty big, so we're gonna be doing a nice fun Lego stream on Friday. McKenna will be mic'd up for that too, so sorry in advance to my sister.
And it's our anniversary.
And it's our what a way to spend it, right? But I honestly wanted to start off like today's episode with some gratitude, just like to say thank you guys to everybody who's been tuning in and week out, who listens to the episodes after they're not live. Like whenever you get a chance to listen to them, whether it's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or here on YouTube, I just want to say thank you. Like I really do appreciate it. It means the world to me, and we've been growing the channel slowly but surely. And I think we're going to be hitting 700 subs real soon, and that's all thanks to you guys. So I just wanted to say thank you. It's been crazy too from the music aspect. All of the songs are doing incredibly well. So I just want to say thank you. I'm like overjoyed, to say the least, from all of the responses I've gotten lately, and it really means a lot, especially when you're doing creative stuff like this. Sometimes you get in your own head and you're like, why am I doing what I'm doing, blah blah blah, and it's because of you guys. It's for you guys. So I just want to say thank you to everybody who's been supporting me. Also, I know I mentioned the Lego sets that we're gonna be doing on Friday. If you're one of the people, I have people that watch me for a lot of different reasons. I've noticed that. We've got some people that just care about the challenge videos, some people that just care about detox, others that care about the original content, all of that. I polled the audience, my audience on Instagram, and had Snapchat people go over there a couple of days ago, and literally every single one of the options had multiple votes. So we've got more of all of it coming, but for the people that are interested in the Lego content, you can, if you want, build with me this Friday by going to the link down below. It's linked in this video, in the description of this video. It's Build With Me, it says. And if you click any of those links and purchase your set through that, you'll be supporting the channel. And you should get it before Friday because it's through Amazon, and we can build together. So I'll be building at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time for those that are interested in that. Also, kind of just getting all the church announcements out of the way before we get into the episode. The 100th episode of the podcast is coming up real soon. This is 94, so I mean 6 weeks and we're there. I want to know what you guys want to see. I want to know what you want to have during that podcast. We've got a bunch of ideas floating around, but nothing's set in stone. I know a longtime listener requested that we maybe do an art contest, which I thought would be kind of fun. I'd love to see how many people would be interested in doing something like that. McKenna mentioned that we have this like muscle tensor. What would you call it? It's like an electro thing.
It's called a TENS unit.
A TENS unit, yeah. And it sends electricity into your muscles, correct?
Yes.
And so we've been messing around with that lately, putting it on muscles and whatnot, and she suggested basically that I put that somewhere on my body that would be painful, and then she quizzes me about past episodes, and then
this sounds really bad.
I get shot.
You say it.
I told you I don't know if people are gonna go for it, and then the thing is too, like, people won't feel I don't know if people would feel the pain from it, so I'm not sure how that would go. But if you guys want it, I'll do it. I'll fucking do it. It doesn't matter to me.
Or like some other punishment, like if you get it wrong.
But too, I just want to make sure that it's like that's what people would want to see is like quizzing me on my own show, like if it's gonna be something else or whatever, like that'd be cool. Plus we've got the 2-year anniversary, so the 100th episode comes out, and then we have a month later, like exactly 4 weeks, then it'll be the 2-year anniversary of the show. Now last year we did the Chatty Awards, which was our own original award show for people that were on detox. I'm not 100% sure we're gonna do the Chatties again this year. But I am considering doing some other fun stuff. I've been floating around the idea of having past guests get to either send in virtually a video or potentially, if we can get a place to do this at, maybe come in person one at a time and do a roast of me, of detox, potentially, of like the whole show. But I don't know how that would go. I don't know if that's something you guys would want to see, so you're gonna have to let me know about that. But I guess now with all of the church announcements out of the way, we've got some some fun stuff to get into. The Jake Paul and Ben Askren fight. I don't know who did anybody in the chat, or if you're listening this days after, please comment and let me know if you spent money to watch that fight. If you did, I'm really sorry for you. I watched a couple of streams titled Fortnite with the Boys. That's how I got to see parts of it, if that makes any sense. But yeah, it was something. A lot of people are really shitting on like the Triller the app. So for people that don't know, there was this big fight this weekend. Jake Paul, YouTuber, pretty awful human being all around person. I mean, I don't know him personally, but a lot of shit that comes out about this guy is that he's not very nice. And a lot of people want to see his ass get knocked out. And he was fighting a former MMA fighter who's retired, 36 years old, Ben Askren, who is known for not really being able to like have any striking power, but could take a beating. World-class wrestler, and won a lot of fights. He was like 19-2 in the MMA. So a lot of people were like, it's kind of up in the air, I guess. I'd say a lot of people thought Ben could kick his ass, actually. But the fight came and went. It lasted about 25 seconds, maybe 30 seconds, the actual fight. But the lead up to it was like 4 hours on Triller, and it was a $50 pay-per-view that you got some like live music, it was basically like a concert. And then there was like some other silly stuff, like this slapping segment where these two big dudes like slap the hell out of each other. And I gotta say, like, I thought that Snoop Dogg and Pete Davidson were like the saving grace of the entire broadcast. Like, they were the best things about it. The slap thing was pretty funny, but the one guy like kept like flinching. I don't know, it was weird. You'd have to look up. I'm sure there's highlights somewhere. but basically this thing was like all over the place. All the announcers were like drugged out basically. The singers were all messed up as well. Justin Bieber, like I love Justin Bieber. Okay, I loved a lot of Justin Bieber's music. His Tiny Desk concert is like one of my favorite Tiny Desk concerts. But like he performed Peaches, which he performed also in his Tiny Desk concert, and his like voice cracked, and then he forgot that he had to do another song after that. He thought he was done, so I think like he was maybe just having a little too good of a time. And yeah, it was all over the place. The broadcast really, it was like kind of all like thrown together. There was these random people fighting that I didn't really give a shit about, and they all sucked. One dude pretended to get hit in the nuts when he got hit in the side so that he could quit, and just it was weird. And then the fight happens, right? Jake Paul, Ben Askren fight. Like I said, it literally, I think Moist Critical said as a joke that it fit in a Twitter GIF, and it actually does. Like the entire fight was like 20 seconds long, and basically Jake lands one punch to one right hand to Ben, and Ben like throws his hands up and falls to the ground, gets right back up, and the ref ends up calling it early right there. And Ben doesn't seem very upset about it. He's actually leaving, smiling. You know, he just made $500,000 plus whatever he got on the back end. It's kind of crazy. Some people think that the fight was fixed, and I can't 100% disagree with them, because I don't think I'll present both sides of the argument. So people think that Ben Askren threw the fight, like that he was paid to throw the fight. Now, that I disagree with. I don't think that Ben, especially hearing him talk, like I didn't know a whole lot about him until the whole press run for this fight, but Ben is a storied athlete, world class. Like I said, he was like 19-2 in the MMA, took plenty of beatings and came back and won matches. He was like, I mean, just insane at wrestling. I think he was like national champion and in the Olympics for wrestling. So very, very good athlete. And I think too, as a competitor, I don't think he would take the money to do that. But what I will say is that I think, and people are saying that they think like he fell down on purpose and stayed and like lost on purpose. But I think what happened was that he did get caught with the right hand, got knocked to the ground, and then got up right away just fine. But I think that potentially the ref may have been under some someone might be influencing the ref's decision to call that fight stupidly early. I mean, Ben was completely fine. He wasn't even like, he literally wobbled for like a half second. I'm good. Ref said, no, you're not. He goes, yes, I am. No, you're not. We're done. Calls it. Ben doesn't care. He gets $500,000 whether he keeps fighting or not. He knows he didn't get knocked out, so it doesn't bother him. He just got all his social medias boosted from this whole thing, and he wants to do a podcast. I don't know if he is already podcasting or not, but he keeps mentioning it. And it's kind of crazy to think. Like, the whole situation is a little crazy. I personally did want to see Jake Paul lose for sure. But the whole scenario, like the whole situation is set up like a fucking WWE storyline. Like this weird event that Jake Paul has like a big part in planning. The best ring announcer of all time gets Ben Askren's name wrong on purpose. Ben's like introduction is meant to look ridiculously stupid. All of the the promotions during the broadcast were just showing Jake Paul. Then they do this whole little piece about Jake Paul's someone in his circle. I think it was like his bodyguard passed away recently, which is absolutely, that's terrible. That's super sad. And they like made the whole fight seem like it was like this fight for this guy. And it was like trying to paint Jake in like a really respectable manner, I feel. And then like the outcome of it was just a little ridiculous that it was called so early. But I'd be curious to see what your guys' thoughts are. I definitely think that Ben, I don't know that he would have won. He was his stance, and I mean the way Ben looked, honestly, like physically, one of the announcers said that he is built like a bag of milk, which I'd never heard that said before as an insult, but it was fantastic. And I can't really disagree with that. I don't think Ben necessarily would have won, but I don't think he was getting knocked out by Jake Paul. And I kind of find it hard to believe that he did. But that's the way the fight was called, and now Jake has exactly what he wants. A bunch of other MMA fighters want to fight him now, and basically reclaim some of that MMA glory that they feel has been lost and taken from them now. But what are your guys' thoughts on the fight? Honestly, I don't really know how to feel about it. I'm glad I didn't spend the money. That's what everybody's saying. Like, the biggest losers of the fight are the people that paid $50 to see it, and then the biggest winners are Pete Davidson and Snoop Dogg. Ben is a UFC ground fighter, not a good boxer. I thought Jake was going to win the whole time. Steve, that's what Steve says. Yeah, I agree in the sense that I didn't think, from watching a bunch of stuff on Ben as I started learning about him in the lead up to this fight, I didn't think he was going to, like, knock Jake out. I did think he was going to win. Personally, I thought that, like, just because I mean, Jake, people are trying to tell me that Jake is this incredible fighter, and I'm not saying that he isn't. Apparently, he's been sparring with a lot of good people, but what have we seen? We've seen him fight for like 4 minutes that weren't, like, he fought a YouTuber that was trash, and then he fought two YouTubers that were trash. I think one was non-professionally. He fought Deji, and then he fought that other guy that was just straight up terrible. And like, the one dude was literally, like, fighting like it was a joke. And then he fights Nate Robinson, who runs straight into the punches. That fight, did that fight even go 2 rounds? I think it did. It ended early in the second round. And then Ben's is 25 seconds. So it's like, it's hard for me to, like, I haven't really seen him fight anybody. I think Ben even said that in the post-fight interview. He said, like, the guy asked him if he respected Jake now, and he said no, like, I don't know who he still hasn't fought anybody, like, which is, funny coming from the guy he just knocked down. But again, knocked down is different than knocked out. But I think you're right that he's never been known for striking. As I did research on him and watching his videos of him, it didn't look good. And then his physique, as Kyle Miller points out, was he was not looking the best. He was very much dad bod out there. But hey, he made $500,000, so I think, props to him. Props to him for being able to play the system like that. And Jake now got what he wanted. Now people want to fight him because no one wanted to fight him. That's why he had to fight Ben. So we'll see where it goes from there. Who do you guys want to see Jake Paul fight? What should be the next big YouTuber boxing match? You guys think that Floyd Mayweather and Logan Paul will happen? Because I'm not really sold on that. I don't know how that one will go. But I will say Logan Paul is a lot bigger than Floyd. That's like the only thing he has, but I don't know that that'll help him much. If that was a UFC fight, Jake would have 0 chance. Yeah, you're absolutely right. That would be my favorite thing, and this will be the last thing I'll say on the topic unless people have suggestions for YouTube fights. My favorite part of the lead up to the fight was when Ben said to him in one of the pre-conference press conference things. He goes, Jake, if I ran into you in LA, if I ran into you on the street and I wanted to do a homicide, I would do a homicide. And I don't know what it is about the phrase "do a homicide" that just had me, like, actually dying of laughter. But he didn't do it in the boxing ring. But yeah, I believe he probably would if it was just, like, straight up who could kill this other person. So good for Jake Paul, man. This is the only thing that I think anybody cares that he does, because everything else is what it is. Now, you can see by the title, we're going to be talking about some other things. We got some things to jump around to. I want to talk about the Joe Budden podcast, which I don't know if you guys know a whole lot about. I don't want to be a podcast that just talks about podcasts, but this is a podcast that I have been a fan of for a while. I used to watch a lot of, have not really been watching much lately, and I will kind of give you guys a little bit of history as to what the podcast is. Basically, Joe Budden, former rapper, he's got his biggest song ever was Pump It Up. I actually never heard about it personally until he was, like, in a beef with Drake back in, like, 2018 or something like that, 2017, 2018. And I followed that closely. And then Joe Budden started working at Complex, and now he's, like, a media personality that speaks on hip-hop and the culture and stuff like that. So he has his own podcast, co-hosted with 2 of his homies, Rory and Maul, and they're fan favorites, and the 3 of them kind of go back and forth. All of their content is kind of around the music industry, around specifically like hip hop, but they talk about other topics as well. And it's usually pretty fun to hear them go back and forth, to be honest with you. And they had this big Spotify deal however long ago, because their podcast was on Spotify and then clips went to YouTube. And apparently Joe Budden, kind of people speculate in a self-destructive move, was overestimating the value of the podcast and claimed Spotify as being like, he used he kind of blew up on Spotify and said that they were clowns and that they were trying to rip him off and all this stuff. So he didn't re-sign the deal with Spotify. Apparently certain, members of the podcast felt a way about that. Then Joe comes out with this deal that apparently other people didn't have a lot of say in, that he signed a deal to put the podcast exclusively on Patreon with like clips posted to YouTube and stuff, or like other content. I think because most of the podcasts are on YouTube too, so I don't know what that's about. But it wasn't liked by the other co-hosts, I guess, Rory and Mal. And then they weren't liking their treatment, and Joe also continuously bashing their their relationships with other companies. And so Rory and Mal were distant for a while, and fans were noticing that they weren't really talking as much. And then all of a sudden, they just left. They're just not on the podcast anymore. And Joe is he's been kind of, I don't know that he's been struggling, because I think he's doing okay, like viewership wise, but a lot of people, myself included, are not really excited about the Joe Budden podcast without his co-hosts. And I guess, for people that don't really care about the situation and don't know about it, to make it a little bit more interesting and applicable, it's kind of, I just wanted to kind of point out, like, this is kind of the reason that I don't have a co-host, and that I've been hesitant, because we've considered it before. We considered it when I was starting the show, and considered doing it at the 2-year mark, or at the 1-year mark, when we were going to be getting ready for the second year of the show. Was considering doing a co-host, or having a couple of co-hosts or something like that. And still bringing guests on and still doing things like that. But when you like look at shows like that, and it's not that I'm against it, it's just that when you have co-hosts and then it's like all 3 or 4 of you play a part in what makes the podcast great, and certain people come there for certain ones of you, or they come there specifically for the dynamic between all of you. When one person leaves, or in this case, all of the other people except for Joe, and I think one of his camera crew people that is like McKenna, that is not on camera but you can hear them, stayed. So other than that, it's just him that stayed. It leaves like audiences, it leaves fans with like a bad taste in their mouth. And like for me, as someone who would go to just see their banter, like it kind of sucks. And I know like I would hate to do that to my audience. Like imagine if I had a co-host and they were on here every week. Let's say Big Ty was on here every week with me and we talked about whatever. We interviewed people together. If he leaves and that energy is gone now, people are going to notice that absence, and people are going to be like, oh, it's not the same. It's not this, it's not that. And I'm not saying that's not why I haven't done it, but that's definitely been a factor. And it's kind of like if you were to start a business or any brand with, multiple faces of that brand, as opposed to one, I feel like you kind of not set yourself up, but you kind of leave that chance open. I also feel like I'm sounding kind of like jaded right now, that like I don't trust anybody, so I can't share my stuff. I mean, I would love to have more people involved, but it's like I feel like with any kind of business, if you have to rely on other people and then egos get in the way, especially like in entertainment stuff, and money and egos and then the public perception all kind of get twisted around, and that just makes it messy. And I it's sad to see. It's sad to see like their friendship. Apparently, like no one's been seeing them talking. Joe Budden did say in one of the podcasts that was addressing them not being there anymore, said that him and the homies were going to be going to some group therapy or something, which people were like kind of interpreting weirdly. But I mean, I'm not trying to diss anybody that's going to therapy. Just like I don't know, with your friends because he apparently screwed them out of money or something. I think it's kind of interesting. But just my thoughts on it, something I wanted to talk about. This next thing that we're going to talk about here is from Intel. Intel is like a software development company. They're probably in your laptops and whatnot. Intel has this new software called Bleep, that is coming out. Now, Bleep, shout out to Philip DeFranco, because I was watching his show and he mentioned this a couple weeks ago, and I wanted to talk about it, but I wanted to look into it a little bit. And Bleep is this in real time audio, what would you call it? Like filter, basically. And you put this in, you download this on your computer, or your, I think you can maybe get it on Microsoft Xboxes, and it will in real time mute out, certain hate speech and languages that you tell it to, which is honestly, like, that's a great idea. If you want it to, if you don't want to be subject to hateful speech, hateful rhetoric online, you don't have to be. And I think that's a cool personalized touch that you could add now to your own computer or to your gaming system. I actually think it's really great for streamers who, like, if they want to stream with maybe their friends who aren't usually oh god, Big Ty. We'll get to Big Ty in a second. In the comments there. We want to play or maybe stream with your friends that aren't usually streaming. Maybe they're gonna curse more than you would like them to, or even if you're playing with randoms and you can't control what comes out of other people's mouths. You just can't. This is a great way, like an alternative to only playing by yourself or only playing with people you trust and know and stuff like that. Being able to have this filter on. But there's been some funny stuff to come out in regards to it with its user interface. So how it works is, for things like the N-word, there is an on and off switch. So you can either choose if you want to allow, like, to be able to hear that if someone says that or not. For things like LGBTQ hate or hate speech in towards LGBTQ people, it has a slider. So it like how much do you want? Like it's literally allows for like a little, an okay amount, or most of it, or all of it, or obviously on the other end, none of it. And so a lot of people have been kind of clowning the software for, like, why is there a slider for some of these categories? Like, there's another one for being like ableist or body shaming. There's a slider, and maybe that one makes a little bit more sense. Like, if your friend just calls you, if your friend thinks you're looking fat or something and you don't want that to be, but how do you specify that? And so it's pretty funny, and people have been clowning this thing a lot for its sliders and the usage of the how the user interface looks, basically. And they responded, I think, saying that it's not done yet, and they're open to suggestions, and they're cool with taking criticism and feedback. So hopefully they get it figured out, because it sounds like a good idea, honestly. Like, I can't hate on the idea itself. I think it's pretty useful, especially for someone that does like live streaming and whatnot. I think it will be kind of cool if especially as we segue into the live build, to have people call in and whatnot, to have sort of a filter, because I can't control what somebody else is going to say. So I see the way I can apply it to my stuff, and I'm sure other people can too if they just don't want to deal with that kind of language. But these sliders on the hate speech is a little interesting. I mean, don't you think that's a little weird? Don't you think it's like a little weird that it's like, how much LGBTQ hate do you want to allow while you play? Like,
yeah, I feel like it should just be like an
on or off. Yeah.
Like, I would almost want to know, like, have it on just
to know what
people are saying,
yeah,
and like what they're about. But
yeah, I see it for, like, if I were someone like that, felt attacked from those kind of things, I wouldn't want, and I don't want to listen to it. Like, I think that's really cool that I have the option to turn it off. Like, if it bothers me and I don't want to listen to that anymore, and psychos are going to be psychos, like, and they even said when they released it when they released the initial look at the software and then the press release alongside it, they said like something along the lines of, we know this doesn't solve the issue of people being psychopaths online and using terrible slurs and derogatory words, but it's a step in the right direction. Yeah. And I think that's cool, but I think where like the actual like real use will be for like streamers and whatnot, so they don't have to, like, if they want to interact with their chat, but like they get a troll comes in and starts saying some wild shit to just try and get them banned from Twitch or banned from YouTube, they don't have to deal with that, which is kind of cool. So I think that's good. It just, the sliders thing is like, it's like their heart's in the right place, but it's like almost more offensive that you're like having people decide.
And like, why only like certain things?
Why only certain categories? Like, like the N-word is all or nothing, but LGBTQ hate, that speech is a slider, which I think is just a little ridiculous. Now, Big Ty says, is a hot dog a sandwich? Oh my goodness, I don't know. McKenna, you have a hot dog app, don't you? Have some app that McKenna has, like this app that you can take a picture of things and it lets you know if that thing is a hot dog or isn't a hot dog.
Yeah. I'm gonna say a hot dog is an open face sandwich, not like a traditional sandwich, because it doesn't have like two pieces of bread. Like it just has like one long one cut in half.
But that's what, isn't a sub like that too though? Like Subway subs are connected. So that would be a sub. It was like the same thing. I don't know, man.
But it's more like the sub is more like closed. Like the hot dog just like sits there.
But it's just because it's like a stuffed. It's just too full. The bun is too full. It's the same thing as a piece of bread. I don't know.
What does Big Ty think?
Good question, Big Ty. Yeah, what's your opinion, Big Ty? If you're still with us. Let's see what else. Okay, it looks like one of his didn't show up but I can see it there. So it says, how big of an army of silverback gorillas would you need jacked up on cocaine to take over the world?
What?
If I had like a handful and they were able to know, they knew how to do cocaine, then I would assume they know how to lift weights.
I think we need like the filter.
Yeah, maybe we need bleep to filter some of Big Ty's comments. That's hilarious. Big Ty says it's a sandwich.
Oh my.
I want to get it. So I asked people. I forgot. I should have got into this when we were talking about the Ben Askren Jake Paul fight. I asked people what their opinions were on the fight. Forgot to pull those up. So anonymous messages from people. Let's see. What's this? So someone says Snoop Dogg and Pete Davidson were the highlights. My condolences if you paid for this event. That was basically my take on the thing as well. So I agree with you 100% there. Someone said I didn't even know it was a thing. Another person said it was fake. Someone else says Jake Paul definitely paid the ref to call it. And then someone else says definitely rigged, but not illegally. Paul's team went and got the worst boxer in MMA at the worst point of his career, and Askren looked like he never trained for it once. Yeah.
He did lose weight in his defense.
So here's the thing. I do agree with that that's the reason that they took. There's two reasons for. I think that's one reason they took Ben. The other reason is because that's who they could get. I think there was, Ben even mentioned it, that there were two other people that they were in talks with while they were trying to get Ben, and then the other two people fell through, so he had to he basically had to take Ben Askren. And Jake paying the ref to call it. Now, I don't know if that is true, but I'm not going to lie, I do feel like the guy called it ridiculously early. I don't think Ben, like I said, I don't think Ben was going to knock Jake Paul out. I don't even know if he would have won, but I do think he would have lasted a couple of rounds. I mean, the dude, if you watch Ben Askren highlights, it's like half of it's him getting his ass kicked and then turning it around. So it's like he can take a beating. I know he's older now and all of these things, but still, he needs to actually fight a boxer to celebrate a win. Yeah, or not even that. Well, that's the thing too. This fight was to try and get to be able to fight a boxer. And Big Ty said he needs to actually fight a boxer. So that's what I was responding to in the comments. If you're listening on Spotify the day after. Now, we got to talk about this Usher situation. So for those of you who don't know, McKenna asked me why is Usher in the title when we were going on. So Usher has been in some like drama news lately because a stripper from, I'm not exactly sure where, said that she was paid from Usher, her and others were paid by Usher for their dances in Usher bucks, which are fake dollar bills with Usher's face on them. And he has them in varying amounts. He's got $10 ones, $20 ones, $100 and this stripper, posted on social media like, this is why I hate celebrities, blah 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 blah, and look what this motherfucker paid us with, and all this stuff. And so I was trying to look it up because that's all I had seen on it, and I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty funny in and of itself. Like if that actually were to happen, it's fucked up because like it technically. I mean, it's not like stealing, I guess, but it's like a gray area of like technically you're paying them for their attention, and if you were throwing money at them and they were giving you that attention, and then it came out that you didn't actually give them the money, that would be kind of, there's some sort of loss there that's a little weird, but still hilarious, I think. And it comes out later because I was researching it yesterday and today. The Usher's camp actually responded to it, and so did the club that the girl works at, and said that Usher paid everybody in actual money. He has there was a suitcase of him that's posted on Instagram with these like Usher bucks as like it's some sort of promotion for he's got like a residency or something in Vegas. And so it's like a promotional thing that like he like either it's you use it there or he's giving it to people to come back to his thing and spend money. And one of his friends that was with him left some as a joke after they were leaving, but Usher apparently paid the entire venue. Like he tipped the venue itself more money. He paid the staff more money. He paid for bottle service and paid the specific dancer. And she has not responded now after that. So I think that is kind of interesting. I mean, still hilarious that he has his own like currency, but I don't know. I mean, I guess it's not as cool. Would you rather have your own crypto or your own like physical bill? Or take this. Not your own fake physical bill. Would you rather have your face on the $100 bill or have your own cryptocurrency? Chat can answer this too.
Probably like a physical hard
the
dollar
hundreds.
bill.
Yeah.
Or $100 bill.
Yeah, crypto is interesting, but
I like don't know anything about like electronic.
Yeah, the
money.
crypto stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know a whole lot either yet. I've just been hearing things about it basically. But I'd say I agree. I would do the $100 bill. Just because that'd be pretty sick.
Yeah, there's
like if they were just like, we're looking to switch the $100 bill to somebody's face. Who should we choose? And you had to apply.
And like
I'd
handing it over to someone with your face on it. And
yeah.
like, oh shit.
I'd be all over that.
I know you would.
When did we come out with? When did like the penny come out?
Do you want me to look that up?
No, you don't have to. But like, who was on the first penny? Like, like what were we using for money before? Like, well, these people. I think it was
just like a trade service. Like, I'll give you this.
Okay.
For this.
'Cause I was curious. 'Cause like, well, no, it couldn't have been. 'Cause there was like, or maybe we were using like UK shit. 'Cause I don't know what it was. 'Cause you gotta think like George Washington was alive at one point, and people were buying and selling shit. They didn't have a dollar bill. Abe Lincoln wasn't alive then. They didn't have the penny. So like that confuses me a lot. And I just thought of that right now. So I'm sorry if that's really stupid.
It's probably like really wrong.
It's probably really wrong, but it is what it is. Now, I don't know who, if you guys haven't or have been watching the Falcon and Winter Soldier, but I want to talk about this creator on TikTok that has been getting absolutely dragged for. He has. Okay, I should set it up like this. If you've been watching the Falcon and Winter Soldier TV series, I don't want to spoil anything if you haven't, but basically it's Sam Wilson and Bucky Barnes' story of them trying to deal with Steve Rogers deal with the world in the absence of Steve Rogers, I guess. But there's a lot of themes of a lot of racial undertones and themes of I guess bigotry and things like that in the show, which obviously we've had some stuff like that happen in real world in real life lately, and this creator, Straw Hat Goofy is his name on TikTok. He is a Marvel, like he does like MCU, he does other superhero movies. He just breaks down movies and like the meanings and the themes and does like some really cool stuff, points out Easter eggs, all that stuff. Now, he has been doing this for a while on TikTok. He's got like almost 2 million followers. I started following him around the time of the WandaVision series, and he's breaking down Easter eggs and things about trauma and all this stuff. So this show comes out. It's clearly about that. and he would do episodic breakdowns on his TikTok, and people started coming after him saying, why you gotta, he is a black man, and people start coming after him, saying that he is trying to make the show about race, even though it isn't. Now, I'll give you guys, the only spoiler I'm going to give you is that, yeah, it's not all, it is. There is a lot of that in there. And that's what he is. He breaks down movies, he breaks down TV shows, and that's what this TV show is about. And so he's breaking it down week by week on the episodes that come out, and people are saying, like, don't make it about this. And he's like, I'm reading this. And he would respond to some of the comments. So then the last episode came out, which again, I won't spoil, but there was the tones of racism were much heavier and more explicitly spoken about. And people like got mad at him for talking about it more. People started literally DMing him, calling him the N-word. People started commenting, all his comments were flooded with disgusting stuff. And come to find that there's a lot of that on TikTok. There's like a lot of people like saying and spreading that kind of shit on TikTok. And they were coming at this guy saying lots of wild shit. And he ended up posting a video of himself like teary-eyed, explaining like, you know, y'all tried to tell me not, like, this show wasn't about this, and all I was trying to do was you know, his job basically. I don't know if he gets paid for it. I'm sure with a couple million followers he's probably doing okay, but he's basically doing what he does for his content, which is break this kind of shit down. And then people attacked him for that, and then took it at his race. They made it about his race, not even the show. And he basically just talked about that openly, and then he was crying. And then some white dude like duets it, and then tries to say like, you know, I'm not racist, and I don't think that anyone should attack this guy or blah blah blah, but I don't think the show is about race and like all this shit. It is like, it's not blah 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 blah, and just like stuck up for all the people, basically like said like, okay, the people that like straight up say the loud, like the quiet part loud, I don't fuck with them, but everyone else is going to pretend that they don't mean that, fuck with them. And it was really disgusting to watch. And I just honestly, I actually messaged him to be on the show. I mean, obviously he's got a couple million followers, he's probably not going to come on the podcast, but he does like a terrific job regardless of like, yes, this show and specifically like is about those kind of things, but he does like a fantastic job breaking down Easter eggs and the meanings behind scenes and stuff like that, and not just for the MCU, for other movies and TV shows as well. Him and Screen Crush are actually like my favorite people to watch for that, if you guys are nerds like myself. But yeah, basically that happened, and I don't know how I really feel about it. I mean, I feel like it's disgusting. I guess that is pretty much the biggest thing. That like, I don't know. What do you like? Are you upset that I'm gonna ask you to comment? I just want to know what you think about that. Like, I just broke down this whole story. You think like?
I think it's pretty terrible.
But like it's his job. Like, that's what bothers me is like, he didn't make the show about what it's about, you know? He just is commenting on what the show is about.
Yeah.
And people are mad that like he's commenting that. And it's like, well, wait, did you if you want to watch the show and skip the parts that are about that, you have maybe 10 minutes, you know, or 20 minutes in total. Like, I don't, maybe a little bit more than that. It's obviously not completely about that, but like the undertones are there the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, that is why he didn't.
It's a good message. Like, every movie, every story has a message usually.
Yeah, and
it's a good message.
It's part of this one.
Yeah.
I just think it's crazy.
Yeah, I feel bad that he's getting attacked for that.
Yeah, it's really sad. It's really sad. I hope that I don't know. I hope that it doesn't have to deal with that forever, because that's ridiculous. I saw some people sticking up for him today, which was cool. I commented, but I mean, what does that matter? He said like, thank you to everybody, share positivity, but you know, now with that's pretty much the show for today, guys. But I want to real quick before we're done tell you guys about some giveaway stuff. I want to do a big giveaway for 700 subs to try and help us get to 800 subs, maybe even quicker. And I know we're getting to 700, slowly but surely, like I said. And I want to know what you guys want to see. I know I keep saying that, like, about all this stuff, but I really just, because like I make videos, yes, for myself, but also for you guys to enjoy, and I want to know what that is that you want. So let me know. Tell me what you guys want to see. What would be something fun that would be good to give away to my people that are watching live? If you have any ideas, you don't have to if you don't feel like expressing them right now, but I wanna give something fun away. What do you think it should be like? I'm not balling like that, so I can't give a ton away. I mean, we could maybe we could do Lego set. We could do like probably can't do a PlayStation, but I could do something. I don't know, something cool. What do you guys want? Not a PlayStation. Please don't do a PlayStation. But I want to give something away. I want to give something away. That'd be cool. And then for the 100th episode, like I was mentioning at the beginning, we've got some fun ideas. Hopefully we don't end up having to settle with me getting hurt or zapped with this electric thing and answering questions. A feature on a D-Rita track. I don't know that too many people are checking for that, but I guess we can see if that's what people will want. I have to poll the audience. I just want to get a couple different ideas, because like other than like giving away like a big electronic device, I'm not really sure what would like fit with this channel specifically, just because we do so much random things. We do a lot of, we're all over the place. Maybe a Lego set would be something good to give away. I don't know. But yeah, I want to do something that we can get some more people to the channel, I guess. But with all that being said, I want to say thank you to our patrons for supporting the channel. Over on Patreon, you guys can find, I break down the behind the song. So it's not called behind the song. I actually make a joke about the video in one of the videos that's not called that. But in the Patreon exclusive content that you can access for as little as $1 a month, I post videos about how I make every single one of my songs. There's a bunch posted on there already. There's also there's like an exclusive podcast episode where I was just ranting with Big Ty. We've got some other stuff that's coming that way as well. And it's a lot of fun over there. If you want to support the channel, it's just you get some nice little bonus content, and it helps fund and everything that we're doing here. So if you want to support the channel, go to patreon.com/DarrenRita. And shout out to our patrons there. Also, thank you to Kenosha Auto Insurance for sponsoring this episode. If you guys got car insurance, you need to give them a call. If you have any, or if you don't have any, you need to give them a call, because they will set you up. And just tell them that D-Rita sent you in, and I promise. With all that being said, I really want to say thank you again to everybody who tuned in live. Thank you to those who are going to watch the day after, those who will listen on Spotify. I'm sorry we had the guest cancellation today. But everything kind of, it is what it is, I guess, Next week, we've got Charlie Davis. He's the owner of Right Bee Cider. You should look up his company. It's the biggest cidery in Illinois, I believe, actually. And they do everything, like they make everything in-house, and is from their bottles to the honey that goes in the cider and all this crazy stuff. And it's like hard cider. So he's going to be on next week. So I'm really excited to get to interview him, talk to him about, building the business, as well as kind of the ins and outs of cidery. So make sure you guys tune in next week. But that's it from me, and that's it for the 94th episode of Detox. So I will see you guys next week.